Welcome to our special commission meeting, August 24th. The time is now 5:40. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass. Here. Vice Mayor Irvin. Here. Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Commissioner Williams. Here. Mayor Taylor.
Present. As we stand for our invocation by Commissioner Kelly.
Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for all of your many blessings. We thank you for this day. We thank you, God, for the city of Opa-locka. Continue, God, give us wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Do those things which are pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're about to go into our public input, and we ask that you all stay, those of you that are going to speak on public input, stay germane to the topic. Public input is open. All right, and Madam Clerk, we have public input that call-ins, I know?
No, Mr. Mayor, we do
Anymore?
not.
Okay. All right. Public input is closed. Okay, so we're going to go into our discussion items. And the discussion item that we only have one, which is the city manager recruitment process. And what steps the commission is going to take now in light of things that have transpired in this city. So anybody would like to start, or as we know, we lost our HR director, and the last resolution that was passed was for her to initiate and the process of collecting the applications, as well as ensuring that a level 2 background screening process was completed for the short list. And that's where we left off at.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you. Well, let me ask the question. Is the HR director that was appointed here?
She's off.
Madam Manager?
No, she's not here. She had a previous appointment before this meeting was scheduled, so she was not at work today at all.
And when did we know that? Was that communicated?
She had an appointment that was pre-approved
No, I'm saying,
before.
when was that communicated to, I guess, the clerk? Or-
She told me on Tuesday or yesterday, as she was leaving, she was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow." And I was like, okay. And I asked her, when this was done, and she said it was previously approved.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, in light of that, you have a couple of resolutions on the agenda. I'm not for waiting any longer to move this process forward. I respect the fact that had a previous engagement, I'm challenged by finding out literally here at the meeting that she would not be here. But nonetheless, yeah, we can move as far as I'm concerned to the resolutions.
Mr. Mayor,
Okay. Commissioner Williams?
okay, quick question. Ms. Lawson, the acting HR director, she was already working in HR at the time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So was she already a part of this, the recruitment process?
When she informed me that she was not going to be here, I asked her how far she was, and she informed me that the posting closed on Monday. After that, on Tuesday, she sent out emails to everyone who submitted their resume for them to complete their application. and submitted back to her on by close of business on yesterday. And she also informed me that on tomorrow, when she returns, she'll be preparing the entire package and sealed envelopes to be distributed to the commission. I don't know, how many people applied or anything. I didn't ask that, but she did tell me that the process was moving forward.
Okay, and I guess that was my question. I just wanted to make sure she was already initially a part of the process and had some knowledge base within it. I'm sure working with the previous HR director that she was, had some of her hand in it as well. So I just wanted to make sure this isn't she's not getting it brand new, but thank you for clearing that up for me. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay, anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Bass,
question.
go ahead.
I know the answer, but I want to hear it from someone else. So I'm asking anyone who would answer. So all of the work that we have done previously in search of getting the city of Opa-locka permanent manager, that's all null and void at this point?
Yes and no. The problem is that we authorize the human resources director to spearhead the process on the second leg. So the first time we did it, we said we were gonna throw that out, but then we brought it back in for a second time and we authorized the HR director to do that. But in the midst of that, she abruptly resigned.
Okay, but my question would be, according to the response that Commissioner Williams just got, it's still in the process, it's still moving.
Yes, but the person who we authorized as a commission to spearhead the process is no longer with the city. So we can, as a commission tonight, can accept the designee and what she's done thus far, or say, but we just have to give guidance as a body, as a board.
Well, I would suggest that we go ahead, since she already know the process and is moving along, to make her the designee and continue on with the process. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you. The person that was appointed, you said, Mr. Mayor, to the manager's office, you said that they have given you steps that they've done.
She told
They
me
were
on it.
promoted. What level, since Commissioner Williams asked you to handle the process, what level were they before they were promoted?
She was HR specialist too.
HR specialist too. So she
Yes.
was involved in the process prior to the HR director leaving.
It's my understanding that her and the HR director communicated on the hiring
Did
and
the
the
HR
process.
director, and again, Madam Attorney, help me here so I don't go too far. The HR director leave anything in place for the commission, knowing she was leaving? Since we had tasked her with this assignment?
She left files of everything. She left just file folders of everything that was done, along with emails.
She just left files of emails.
Yes.
Okay, I understand the part about she may be a part of the process. I'm concerned about how the transparency part of it being appointed by one of the folks applying. If we're going to go this particular route, and apparently you know more than we know, because she's told you some things, because I didn't know what you know now. So if I'm hearing you correctly, she's got the applications. She's supposed to do what again?
She informed me upon her return to work on tomorrow, she'll be preparing packages for each member of the commission, and she's going to hand deliver them to the commission. I don't know how many applicants, I don't know anything else because I didn't ask her, but she told me she'll be preparing that information.
Okay, she's gonna prepare them and give them to the commission tomorrow,
Hand delivered.
hand them to the commission tomorrow. Okay. I'd like to get, well, I know it's on record, but I'd like to get exactly what transpired in those conversations and specifics. Because even though she's a level 2, that's still a big step from a certified HR professional sitting in that seat, given all of the cloudiness, this whole process that we have engaged in. I think I'll go back to my same statement. If we're going to go this route, and she's been involved. At this point, the resolutions that are particularly possible on the agenda could still be looked at because they're part of the process. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anyone else? All right, so before we go into the resolutions, I just want to say that one of them is for the HR director to engage a professional firm to take the process where she has left off or where the commission desires them to start from, and then continue it on with the background checks and all of that other stuff. And then the other one is for her, the HR designee, I'm sorry, to take on the process themselves. So that's the two resolutions. So it's two options.
Okay,
Okay, go
what,
ahead.
this, which one are you doing first? The one about the hiring someone?
Well, one will be deferred or voted down, and one will, or however we want to do it. So it's up to the commission.
I'm asking about us paying a firm to do the process.
Mhm.
When that came up back in January, we didn't want to spend the extra money. So now we want to spend the extra money to do it?
No, specifically the background checks is
Yes.
where we left off at.
Okay,
think
but
what you're
they're not gonna do
referring
it for
to-
free though.
No, we will have to pay. We will have to pay. Is that what you're?
Well, I thought we had an issue with paying a firm to come in and to do any of this. So basically, let me ask this question. So basically, we're not trusting what FDLE did. That's what it all boils down to. And we gonna, instead of trusting FDLE, we're gonna get a firm to do the background check and stuff for our candidates.
Well, again, there are two legislations before you.
Yes, I'm asking
So
about
it's-
one. I
it's-
can't talk about both at the same time.
Well, we haven't even gotten it. We're still in discussion,
Okay.
so you can actually talk about both. One is to allow a professional firm to do it. I don't know your feelings on it. And the other one is to allow the HR director to spearhead it.
Are we, Mr. Mayor, are we discussing both items or are we just, what are we on
We
the
can-
items?
We can discuss. It's
Mr.
not,
Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly,
I think we need to do them individually
let's go.
before we start discussing them specifically. If one fails, then you go to two. If one passes, then there's no need for two. But I don't think we need to discuss them before we actually put them on the floor for voting. That's. So we don't confuse.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. It should go by the agenda. Just go
Alright.
through each of them at a time
Madam Attorney?
to read it.
Yes, ma'am.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the Human Resources Director or Department Designee to engage an independent professional recruitment firm or other relevant professional firm to execute the process and ensure compliance of city code and internal processes and procedures for the hiring of the position of city manager on an emergency basis up to a certain amount, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflict, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Mayor Taylor.
Move for discussion.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly. All right, so what I'm going to do is, because I want to make sure that we discuss all items, I'm going to relinquish the gavel and give it to Vice Mayor, and I will second this item. So it was so moved by Commissioner Kelly and second by Mayor Taylor. Open for discussion. Vice Mayor, it's your.
Vice Mayor,
Yes.
interesting enough, when we were on the discussion item, I asked a question. You stopped me and defaulted to Commissioner Kelly and I wasn't done, by the way. So and I wasn't done, by the way. I'm just telling you, I was, because Commissioner Bass said, were you done? And no, I was not. So there's this,
Well, I
thing going on.
apologize, Commissioner Williams.
okay, I'm just saying, I wasn't done and we were still on a discussion and I wasn't ready to move on.
I apologize, Commissioner Williams. Well, Madam Vice Mayor.
Seems to be a thing.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I have no discussion for number one. I disagree with it, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay,
Madam Vice Mayor,
yes, Commissioner Gary.
thank you. Couple of things from regarding the sponsor, and it really applies to both of these. No designees, it has to be the HR director, that's number one, and not a designee to do this because the charter clearly states for the HR director. I'm challenged, first of all, by how we're doing this with an appointment. That's one of the reasons why I prefer to have an independent firm to do this. As you stated earlier, in the year we passed this, Vice Mayor, we said we're going to do it internally, and we would save the money. As you've seen, doing this internally has caused a lot of challenges, has caused a lot of cloudiness and a lot of untransparency, in my opinion, in this whole process. So I think if we want to really just make sure that it is above board and everyone has that same comfort level, then we would engage a outside recruitment firm via the HR director to make sure that everything is complied with. The HR director is still over the process since they've had a hand in it, but it would give us an independent look at this and assistance with this so that it could be no potential viewing as conflict. Because when you get into the other one, and I'll deal with that one if this one doesn't pass, there's that potential. I don't see the harm in acquiring an outside firm to assist to make sure that there's compliance with all of the attachment parts that are in the legislation, all the whereas, to make sure everything is complied. And to answer your question regarding the FDLE, Vice Mayor, no, I didn't trust that process either because I never got a clarity on how FDLE even got here. And this whole idea about being in the queue and can't see was not even clear to me at that point. So that whole process I have challenges and questions with. This would allow the process to go out via the HR director, since she's already been in the loop. Her hands have been a part of it according to the manager's office. The only thing this does is allow an engagement of an independent firm to assist in the process and compliance so that it cannot be even construed in the lightest manner that it wasn't done above board. In terms of the money, it is there for base up to a set amount. I guess the chair, this time the sponsor, would have given that amount. I think you can do that or insert an amount in there up to $10,000 if it goes that high. I don't think it will, but if it were to assist in doing this. As we know, HR is already understaffed, obviously, because this person was promoted. So for them to try to do all of the things that's needed, the process, the compliance, the procedures and all of that, along with whatever their daily routines are, I think would be very challenging also. And so that's why I support the resolution. I would just support also to the sponsor that it be the HR director, no department designees, strictly the HR director who's in charge. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay,
Madam Vice Mayor?
yes, Mayor Taylor.
And the other thing that I asked the clerk to present, that if this resolution so passed, that I asked her to give you the resolution that passed in 2000, I believe 19, when the city engaged with Basinger and Associates to conduct a recruitment process. And the only reason why I brought this is because they're already used to the city and the city has already done business with them. So we know their work. I wasn't here when this resolution was passed or engaged in, but this was the closest thing that I can get to my hands on. So I'll ask the clerk to provide that information to you as well.
Okay,
Madam Vice Mayor,
Commissioner Williams,
so are we talking about the same firm out of Chicago that only recruited in Chicago and brought the former city manager here? That firm?
are you relaying your question
To
to
the-
the
to-
sponsor?
The mayor.
Again, I wasn't on the dais when that took place, so I don't know who the city interviewed at the time. I don't think the only people that was here at that time was Commissioner Kelly and Commissioner Bass. So I don't know who was recruited at that time.
Vice Mayor,
Commissioner Bass?
to our mayor, when you say who was recruited, you meant the applicants or the company?
The applicant.
I'm thinking that Commissioner Williams was referring to the company. Am I right?
No, she specifically said that he only recruited people from Chicago. And I said I wasn't here at the
The
time, so I
company,
don't,
the company's out of Chicago.
I don't
Cool.
know who the city interviewed or where they recruited from, because I wasn't here.
No, I didn't say that. That's not what I'm saying.
You
I
they
said
came from- Go
the
ahead.
company
Mhm.
is out of Chicago because when you and I joined the commission, I did my homework on the company. They are out of Chicago, heavily recruited candidates from Chicago.
Mhm.
And coincidentally, we got a candidate from Chicago. Now, of course, we don't know who the recruits were, who the candidates were. We don't know that because we weren't on the dais. So that's why I have second thoughts and it gives me pause to reach back to a company because that initial company was already to me dealing with some nefarious issues right there. So that's my issue and that's what I have. But let me go back. I want to say we keep using the word transparency and I would agree there are some things, but we also as a dais have to keep in mind that, you know, make sure and ensure that we're also not causing unnecessary conversations, drama. We're not wrapping a lot of other things around what we think could be and we don't know. And so when you do a lot of speculations or coulda, shoulda, wouldas of why and what, this is where our residents and everyone that's watching us begin to start out what I call conspiracy theories. So if we begin conspiracy theories, everyone else begins conspiracy theories. So I'm just saying, I'm not going to, you know, when we throw out these coded words, very coded language that continues every time we have these conversations about the manager search, very coded language, under the table language about the process. I'm okay. I heard you, Ms. Lawson, what you said about the interim. Of course, I wish she was here, but she's not, and I know it happens. People take off. It happens, and people request to be off, you know, in advance. But I'm comfortable with moving on as long as her hand was in the process initially. But I am not comfortable because I saw what happened to the city when we went outside. It brought the city to its knees at the core. I'm not comfortable with going back to that. So that's my 2 cents.
Vice Mayor.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly, I think.
I'll yield.
Oh,
I'll
he
yield.
said he'll yield. Commissioner, Mayor Kelly.
Okay, so I want to address 2 things. One, I didn't bring this resolution for us to attack the company. One, the manager said, the process is already closed. So the only thing that they will be doing is the second step, which is the background checks. So they're not in the recruitment processing, they're not engaging with candidates. All they're doing is doing the background checks. And the other thing about the coded messages, I believe at the meeting, Vice Mayor not Vice Mayor, Commissioner Williams, that I missed, you were the one that questioned how did FDLE get here in the first place? So hence why there are two resolutions, because obviously you all were uncomfortable, everybody was uncomfortable with the
Not
results.
everybody.
No,
Not
I
everybody.
was-
Some people were
Okay.
uncomfortable with the results that were presented that day, which is why you see two resolutions, one for the city to engage by themselves and the other one for an outside firm. I'm not pushing for Basinger. I only brought it here because this is the last company that the city engaged with. And because we don't have time to procure it, but on the emergency basis, we can hire someone. That's why I brought this here. So that's, and I didn't do it for them to be attacked, but.
I'm not attacking them. Anyway, Vice Mayor,
They were doing the various-
thank you. Let me say this. So.
Hold on one
have-
second. Hold on one second, Commissioner.
I'll yield, I'll yield.
Okay.
Oh,
He was
okay.
like-
No,
he
no,
said he'll
no,
yield, so
please.
it's okay, go ahead.
Having walked in late and asking those particular questions, I also want to respond. The next meeting, clear direction, clear understanding from our chief came out. Clear understanding from, I can't remember his name, came out. And I myself, and you can attest this with our chief, asked so that I can apologize to the FLDOE representative if he thought at any point I attacked him. Because I didn't get the facts and I didn't have the facts and I jumped to assumptions that tend to happen. I'm not isolating myself, but that's what happened. So let me say this. However, I am comfortable with the results that was presented. I am comfortable with the conversation that happened after that meeting. And I'm comfortable with moving forward, but I'm not attacking any company. I'm not attacking a company. I'm telling you, was this the same company that was out of Chicago? That was my question. That was it. So you can take it how you want to, but that's not,
You
I was
literally
not
said that they
attacking.
were engaging in nefarious behavior. That's what you just, I'm sorry,
well,
go
maybe
ahead.
you're on maybe you're on their
Sorry.
payroll. I don't know.
We're rewriting history, but that's literally what you just said, which is why I said that I didn't
Well,
bring
I'm
it to
just
be
saying,
attacked.
maybe you're on their
but
payroll.
it's
Who
okay.
knows?
Oh, so now I'm engaging in
I'm
nefarious.
just saying, you
Oh.
learn about what I'm saying.
When does this stop? When
Okay.
does this stop?
I'm ready to
When does-
go.
When does this stop?
Oh, keep going.
When does this
When
stop?
you stop,
When does this stop?
when you stop,
I
Commissioner
haven't said
Kelly.
anything, Commissioner Williams.
you never do.
But you need to, we came here to do a job. We came here to do a job. All that's not necessary.
You
Come
don't have
on.
the gavel, she does. The vice mayor
But I
does.
have to.
And, oh, now you have the floor.
Commissioner
Interesting.
Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. And we wonder why we need an outside uh independent
Exactly.
recruitment firm to assist us with this process. There it is right there. I'm not saying it's Basinger because the resolution just says for the HR director or designee, which I don't agree with. I said firmly to the sponsor to take out department designee. But for the HR director to engage an independent professional recruitment firm, whether they're local, whether they're from Miami, it's really up to them because we're asking them to do something as the HR director to assist in this process. To me, that was very clear. And if there's no other reason why we need to have some extra eyes on this process, that engagement and dialogue just verified that. Only thing I'm saying is, regardless of who it is the HR director who is going to engage an independent professional recruitment firm. And if they're the HR director, they should be able to find an independent professional firm to assist with those processes that are listed in the resolution. You got the candidates, you got all that back end, so you're not going out to get anyone. This is simply to handle the next steps in this process to select a manager. That's all it is. And to allow the HR director to have someone to assist because they're already short-staffed. And if you're going to do all of the things necessary that are listed in all these whereases that's required, as a part of this process, that is quite a bit of work for someone to do who's stepping in to a position. This is not the HR director that was here. This is someone who is stepping in. And while they were a level 2, according to the manager's office, that's still not an HR director. It's still not the same. So obviously there's something they may not even know at the level 2 that an HR director would know. That's why it's even more important to engage someone who does this, who does recruiting, who can assist the city to make sure that we do execute the process, that we ensure compliance of city codes and all the procedures for the hiring of the position. It's really, to me, simplistic, but it's a resolution. Madam Vice Mayor, since you have the gavel, let's go ahead and deal with it. And so we can move on one way or the other. Only thing I would say to the sponsor, I don't like the part about a designee, because that means another set of hands or eyes are going to be engaged in this. And this is strictly should be just the HR director per the code, that is not anybody else to engage anything, even on the second one. So I would prefer or ask for that friendly amendment on the legislation, if you'd accept it, and then we can move forward however the commission wants to move. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. To the sponsor, I have a question. So I think I want to make sure I heard you say, this is just for them to do the background check. Okay,
let's go back. So the recruitment process, I just wanted to see what we wanted to happen going forward. So this resolution is yes to do the background check, but if we were going to reopen it, then that would have to be stated. So that will have to have been another amendment.
Madam Vice Mayor,
yes.
I just wanted to make a clarification. So it is for the level 2 background check, but it's also for the other processes that were listed in the resolution as far as reference checks and employment and educational verification, license verification, and that, et cetera.
And that's something that HR does anyway. Am I correct?
That was something that it would be going through whoever's helping with HR. So the screener would be able to help with it, the independent firm would be able to help with it.
May I ask the Madam City Manager, when we get new hires, and it goes through HR, do HR check their former employees or their references? What is that process before we hire people?
So that process is done by our HR department. And I don't want to speak for the former HR director, but when she was here at the previous meeting, she did say that that process was going to be handled by HR because that's something that they do. They do the previous employment, education. They do that within our HR department.
Okay. Yes,
Can I put you
Commissioner
back for a second?
Williams.
Thank you. I
Kelly.
heard those, thank you. I heard those comments she made too. So you're telling me that the HR director, if we had she would still be here, would do everything that's required or could do everything that's required and all of the whereases? And you're saying that the current interim who just been appointed less than 2 weeks is qualified to do that or have the same skill level to do that?
I can't say that she has the same skill set as the previous HR director because she don't, but I do know that our HR department handles that process when they're hiring all employees. They do the previous employers and they do the education. They do background checks for regular employees. They don't do the level 2 because they don't have the equipment, but they do all the other steps.
And that's the point I'm making. I know they do background checks. I know they do the lower level stuff, but not on this level that we're talking about. That's the key point that I'm trying to be clear on. I know the HR director in her capacity said, yes, we do that, but that was her as the director. Now we're talking about an interim, and I don't want you, she's appointed and she can function in the role of the director. but in terms of that's regular, level one, background check on education. But can she do all of the other whereas? That's really the question I'm asking. And since she's not here, I guess.
Yeah, I can't speak for
You
her.
can't speak, okay. I don't want you to speak for it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay. Any more questions? Or discussion?
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes,
Would the sponsor accept my friendly amendment that is just HR director, not a designee in this legislation?
Yes, Commissioner Kelly. But she's not the HR, so it has interim, or I think the designee would be because she's the interim, because we don't necessarily have an HR director.
I really,
Well, she's
She
the
needs to be
I'm
here.
sorry, Madam Vice Mayor.
I'm thinking out loud.
Oh. She's the HR director, interim or not, she's in
Okay,
that position. And the city manager's office has indicated to us that she's fulfilling that role. So I'm not looking at the position of the person that's interim.
got it.
They're the director. So they're functioning this role. That's how I am looking at it. I would prefer that they're here too, but they're not here, but we need to move forward. So according to the manager's office, she's already got them, planning to give them to us. I only would like for it just to be the HR director, not a department designee to engage in any, independent firm or anything else. And I'm going to say that on the second as well, just the HR director. Because that's what the charter says it should be.
So
Thank you.
Mayor,
amendment accepted.
Mayor Taylor. So we're going to have our HR department find said persons.
Mhm. That's what.
Does that come back to us to
No,
vote on the people, or it just?
because we're not going through the procurement
Okay.
process. So on the emergency basis, she would choose engaging someone to perform those duties. Listed in the resolution.
Like that fifth whereas. That fifth whereas.
I would like to know, because even if this new company comes in, have we, you won't know the answer to that, I don't think. Ms. Lawson, question, I know with what FDLE did with us, there was this secure folder that we didn't know about or whatever. Have, the person that was appointed to take that test and stuff like that, did they, basically is Kiara's name off of that paperwork now? And we have a new person for that?
The person who is fulfilling the HR director responsibilities is the person who the police department mentioned that the email was sent to. I would defer to the chief to make sure that that training has taken place. Because
If
again,
the training hasn't taken place, we're gonna still be back in the same situation. Because, no, I'm saying they're gonna still send it, because it's still gonna come from FDLE. So my thinking, maybe it's my ignorance, I don't know. My thinking is that it's still gonna come in a secured folder that one of our people have to be qualified to open up and do what needs to be done with it.
Thank you, commissioners. So the folder is established, HR@opa-locka.com. The acting or interim HR director, Ms. Levers, she was designee to take the test. She has taken it and she is now able to accomplish the mission.
Okay, I have one more question for you. I don't know if you know the answer. If you don't, it's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So when this outside firm get the level 2 from FDLE because it has to go through FDLE, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It's gonna still come to us in a secured folder. And that process is going to be the same. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes,
Thank So let me get it straight. The previous HR director who couldn't get into the queue, we didn't know who could get into it.
no, we know.
Nobody could get into it at that point. So now the interim director has taken the test and can now get into the queue.
She was the one who was assigned, designated as access to have access to that.
And I just heard you say she took the test
Mhm.
and now she can get into it.
Yes, because Kiara Walker,
No,
I mean,
let me just,
Kiara,
let me be clear on this.
Good afternoon, Commission.
good afternoon.
The previous HR director was sent the information to get access to the secure file and where the queue was, where the backgrounds were. She designated Diana as the person she wanted to give access to go into that file and look at the queue and pull the backgrounds off of that. That's why the previous HR director never did it herself. She had designated Diana to do that. And then in the delay from designating Diana, Diana didn't know she had to take the test. And then we had to send her the test and all of the links. But once those backgrounds come back, they come back encoded in a specific file that can only be accessed by that one person.
Okay, so let me go back. At that point, and I don't like to call people names because I really don't know who these folks are. There was nobody that was qualified to go in the queue.
Correct.
Now, the person who is the HR interim has taken the test to be able to go in the queue.
That is correct.
Do we see how that sounds?
No.
Okay.
That's,
Madam Vice Mayor, let's move on. This is,
no,
let's call for the vote whenever y'all finish discussing.
that's what was said to us,
In the last meeting.
the last time, that the previous HR director was the only one able to get into the queue. And since she wasn't here, they then wanted the HR director to appoint somebody, if she didn't want to do it herself, to take the test to be able to get into the file when it comes to us. So as it stands now, I don't care what company we use out there, only Miss Diana is going to be able to get into that file unless she has somebody else to take the test and become certified to be able to access the file.
Correct.
Got
And
it.
so we didn't know that.
We found out about that at the last meeting.
No, we knew at the last meeting
Yeah,
that Miss Diana could get in there.
yeah, that's what she appointed to take the test to become certified.
Oh, to take the test to be served.
Yes.
You said that on the record last meeting?
Yes.
Miss Diana was going to be chosen to take the test.
No,
No,
he
the HR
didn't know.
director said that.
The HR director.
Okay, I'll go back and look at the minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
she had to appoint somebody to take the test that she didn't want to be that person herself.
Okay. All right, I'll go back and look. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Clerk, I guess we're calling the question.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Are you on the first one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. No.
Commissioner Bass,
No.
Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
No.
Motion fails 3-2.
Madam Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the Human Resources Director or Department Designee to execute the process and ensure compliance of the city code and internal processes and procedures for the hiring of the position of city manager, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflict, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Mayor Taylor.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Mayor Taylor. Go ahead.
All right, so this item is similar to the first one. The only difference is this allows the HR director to do the whole process. And I believe that an amendment will be to, so instead department designee will be removed from the legislation to execute the process. Is that what the same amendment applies to this?
Yes, I'm just waiting to be acknowledged, but I'll make that same motion. Madam Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly?
Oh, the mayor, okay, yeah. Oh, you still got it, okay.
She said,
Madam Vice Mayor, yes, the same thing as I said in the first one, that it should be the HR director and no designee, so it only goes to the director's process. And I also would like to ask a question since since you deferred to the police on the earlier statement, Madam Vice Mayor, let me ask the question to, because HR is not here. So I guess I'll defer or ask the police since you're deferred to them. If you got a chief come back up.
Chief Otley? Chief Otley, could you come to the podium, please?
Yes, Commissioners.
Since we're not going to have a firm, we're going to have HR director do it. To go through all the processes needed. And according to what you just said, they've been taking the test, certified to go in the queue, get whatever out of the queue, et cetera, so forth, correct?
Yeah, please repeat that. Added to and so forth. I'm not clear on what you're talking about.
According to your statement and your assistant and previous comments from the other meeting, the information was in the queue, could not be accessed because the person that has to access it had not taken the test. Now they have taken the test and now they can access whatever may be in the queue.
That is correct. They are
Okay.
certified.
So whatever would be in the queue, they'll be the only one now can access it because they are taking the test.
That is correct.
Okay, so I really want to ask the question, maybe to the manager's office. I'm not really sure because HR director is not here. Since we received applications, we don't know who's in there. I'm pretty sure some of the same folks might have applied, but I don't know. So when we start this process to the sponsor, we are starting it totally over on all of the processes. Correct? We're not,
Yes.
anything that was in the queue before is null and void. Because what this is doing is asking the director to execute the process, ensure compliance, and all of the whereases that go along with it, based on whomever we wind up selecting. So anything that was previously done or in the queue is no longer valid, correct?
that's a question to me or to the chief?
I'm not just you.
I think I would defer that to the commission. That's not for me to answer.
Okay, to the sponsor, Vice Mayor.
Yes, that's what, anything that has happened prior to today is null and void.
Okay.
Other than the applications that were received, if we so choose to keep those applications.
Okay, so when we receive these applications, according to the manager's office tomorrow, individually from the HR director, and we make our decisions to get to the top 3 or whatever, and then we make that known, that's when this process is actually going to kick in. Correct? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, I just want to be very clear. So anything that's happened before is null and void because we don't even know who applied. So we have to make some decisions on who the 3 going to be. And then we make that selection of 3. Then the authorized HR director will begin the process on ensuring compliance, et cetera, going through their lead, going through level 2 and all the other things that are necessary. I just want to be clear on that. Okay, thank you, Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay. Commissioner
Mayor?
Bass?
If I am understanding this correctly, which I'm gonna leave that part alone. dealing with FDLE, an organization that's well-known and has proven itself. Me personally, I would take it as a slap in the face for someone or a city to say that what I did was not legitimate. I have a problem with that. And second of all, where it says in the 10th, whereas, I want to know what is, it's after the period, it says credit history and other specialized checks. What is that?
Yeah,
15.
I think it's 15 instead of
15, the
15.
10th,
15.
whereas. No, I think that's the second resolution. Right here, the 10th one.
Okay, where it says the human resource, I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, I can't hear by Commissioner Bass.
Oh, I'm sorry. My question is, I need somebody to explain to me. I know what credit history is, but what is the other specialized checks? Whereas number 10.
This adheres to the city's policies and procedures.
Yes, but I
So
want to
other
know.
specialized checks, I'm gonna yield to the people that wrote it. So, Madam Manager. I think this was a part of the findings, if I'm not mistaken. And this is what we, if
Are
I'm
you
not
talking to the
mistaken,
attorney? You said manager, so
the manager or the attorney, so the one that wrote it was the management office. So, but the attorney, we can yield to either one. The policies and procedures was written by the manager's office. That's what I'm saying.
Madam Vice Mayor,
Madam Attorney.
I don't think there's anything that is specified as in specialized checks. It'll be whatever's necessary in order to complete the background checks, anything that the committee would need to know in order to verify the eligibility of the candidate.
Vice Mayor,
Commissioner Bass.
and that will come from Mayor and Commission, correct?
It'll come from the mayor commission. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The other specialized, whatever that means.
Correct, because the committee, they're able to basically dive into whatever they need to in order to make a decision.
Okay, thank you.
What was that thing? Commissioner Bass, Madam Vice Mayor, I didn't, Commissioner Bass, I didn't hear your
Sir.
other, you said two things. What was the other, you mentioned D something, I didn't hear it.
No, my comment was about FDLE. And then the second one was about specialized checks.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm done, thank you.
Any more discussion? Madam Clerk?
I'm sorry, Madam Vice Mayor, I do have a question. I think Commissioner Kelly proposed an amendment. Is a vote required for that amendment?
If the mayor accepted it, then you wouldn't need a vote. Otherwise, you would need a vote.
Yes, it was accepted.
Okay, so Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes,
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Who got the gavel? I don't know who got the gavel.
Well,
I would like to say, because
the mayor has it.
we can't discuss anything else, so I guess, Madam Clerk, if you could, Mr. Mayor, I guess since you're leading this, because we're gonna need to obviously schedule meetings after, the HR director gives us whatever, so I'll leave that in your hands, so. Yeah, I'll leave it in. Motion to adjourn.
no, we never voted on the item itself. We voted on the amendment.
Mr.
You
Mayor,
accepted the
you
amendment.
accepted the amendment, the friendly
Yes,
amendment.
but the question you asked was, do we need to vote on the amendment? We said yes. So
No, I believe the city attorney said if you were willing to accept the
we
amendment,
don't have to vote on
a
it?
vote was
Okay.
not necessary.
All right, motion to adjourn. Move by Commissioner Kelly. Second
Second.
by Commissioner Bass. This meeting is adjourned.